after another body was pulled from the water just this morning. It's the 7th in the past month. On your screen is a look at the locations where bodies have been found recently, with today's discovery marking.
At around 8 this morning, Houston police were called here to Buffalo Bayou near North York Street for a report of a body found in the water.
This was the 5th body pulled from the Houston Bayou this week, and the 14th this year. At first, police thought it was just another drowning. Another tragedy in a city used to dark water and darker secrets. But then they found something that didn't belong. A plastic mannequin head floating beside the body, with a tiny USB drive sealed inside. And what was on that drive changed everything, because it didn't just show what happened, it showed who was watching. In the heart of Houston, Texas, there's a stretch of water locals call the Bayou, strangely beautiful. But beneath its calm surface, something deeply disturbing has started to unfold. It began early one morning when a jogger noticed something floating near the edge. At first, it looked like debris, but as he got closer, the outline became clear. It wasn't debris. It was a body. He froze, pulled out his phone, and called 911. Within an hour, the entire area was crawling with police and crime scene units. What they found next, no one was ready for, because it wasn't one body. It was 3, all discovered in less than 48 hours, all within the same 5-mile stretch of water, and all under eerily similar conditions. The first, a young man, mid-20s, no ID, clean clothes, no signs of robbery or struggle, just gone. The second, a woman in her 30s, with faint markings on her wrists and something carved faintly into her jacket. We never left. The third, the one that changed everything, was a middle-aged man. His fingerprints matched a missing person, reported nearly 9 months earlier. He'd vanished after attending a small neighborhood gathering. No enemies, no debts, just disappeared. And yet, here he was, pulled from the water miles away, his watch still ticking. At first, Houston PD assumed it was coincidence, a tragic cluster of drownings, maybe unrelated victims of drugs or homelessness. But the autopsy report said otherwise. All 3 victims showed the same signs. No water in the lungs, no evidence of struggle. Time of death within hours of disappearance, meaning they weren't drowning victims. They were already dead before they ever hit the water. Detective Maria Alvarez, 15 years with HPD, was among the first to notice the pattern. She told local media, "It feels staged, like someone wants us to find them, but not know why." The statement sent waves through social media, and theories exploded overnight. Serial killer?
For something like a serial killer to happen, there needs to be commonality between the victim.
But there was one detail the public didn't know, at least not yet. Near the second body, divers found a small waterproof bag wedged under a bridge beam. Inside, a USB drive, badly damaged, but partially recoverable. On it, a short video clip. No sound, just static. And a shot of the bayou, filmed from somewhere high up. Then, at the very end, one frame of text appeared. "They float because we remember." That single line turned the investigation upside down. Experts examined the clip. No timestamp, no GPS data, no origin. But metadata revealed the video had been edited less than 24 hours before the second body was found. Whoever filmed it was still active. Alvarez and her team began combing through missing persons reports, and one strange link appeared. Each of the 3 victims had attended, at some point, a recovery support group downtown. Different times, different years, but the same address. The building, long abandoned now, was once known as the Lantern House, a center for people battling addiction and trauma. It shut down in 2018 after a fire gutted part of the facility. Official cause, electrical fault. But some of the staff insisted, even years later, that the fire was deliberate. One volunteer claimed a small group had formed after the closure, meeting secretly at night, to keep the light alive. Their motto was carved on the wall of the old building. "We never left." The same words found on the woman's jacket. That discovery shook the detectives. If all 3 victims were part of this underground group, what happened to them? Police tried to contact former members, but half of them couldn't be found. Phones disconnected, addresses abandoned. Even the founder, a man named Ethan Vale, vanished 2 years ago after posting a cryptic video online. When truth drowns, only the faithful float. The parallels were impossible to ignore. But while detectives searched for connections, locals began reporting strange activity near the bayou at night. Flashlights moving through the trees, whispers echoing over the water, and the faint glow of what looked like candles drifting downstream. TikTok videos showing the lights went viral, some claiming it's a memorial, others calling it a ritual. Either way, something's happening there. Then came the 4th discovery. Just days ago, a fisherman, checking his nets at dawn, spotted something snagged near the embankment. A plastic mannequin head, painted with human-like eyes, and sealed with duct tape. But inside the hollow of the head, detectives found another small USB drive. Authorities haven't disclosed what was on it, but sources told the Houston Chronicle it contained images of maps, with certain bayou locations circled in red. Each circle, when cross-referenced, matched the sites where the bodies were found. And there was one more circle further south, the next potential site. As the investigation deepens, so does the fear. Houston residents are now avoiding the bayou altogether. Even local cleanup crews have paused operations at night. No suspect has been named, no arrests, and no explanation for how multiple people ended up dead. Dry lungs, no signs of struggle, and eerie messages left behind. It feels deliberate, it feels orchestrated, and maybe, just maybe, it isn't over. The day after the mannequin head was found, detectives made a discovery that never reached the news. Inside that hollow plastic head, a second USB drive. The first, blackwater rippling. The second, a hand lowering something heavy. The third, a whisper fire. We float to remember. The fourth, a reflection of a face. The fifth, coordinates, leading deep into the marshlands south of Houston. Those coordinates led to an abandoned storage unit. The lock was freshly cut. Inside, candles, notebooks, and a torn banner. The lantern still burns, but under the floorboards, traces of formalin, a chemical preservative. Someone had hidden something for a long time. Forensics found tiny fragments of fabric and hair, evidence that someone had been preserved, not buried. A few days later, a pale man walked into the station. Caleb Rohn, a former volunteer at the Lantern House, a rehab center that burned down in 2018. He said some members never left. They called themselves the Floaters. Their belief, water cleanses pain. But Caleb's voice trembled. It stopped being about healing. It became about release. He described late-night gatherings by the bayou. Lanterns floating, chants echoing. One night, a woman named Hannah didn't return. When Caleb asked their leader, Ethan Vale, he smiled and said, "She floated. She's free now." Detectives dug into Ethan's old posts. His final message in 2023 read, "If the light can't reach us, we'll reach it another way." Underneath, a reply, "Lanterns drift south this year." When investigators cross-checked that message with satellite images, they noticed faint glowing dots along the river. Lights moving slowly downstream, exactly matching the dates new bodies surfaced. At dawn, divers entered the bayou. Within minutes, they surfaced with a crate. Inside, 6 glass jars, each labeled with a missing person's name. But one jar was blank, except for a single word, Maria. Detective Alvarez froze. Maria was her own name. Forensics confirmed the jar was years old. Someone had planned this long before she ever joined the case. Inside the jar, a single strand of hair matching her DNA. Someone had been watching her for years. Days later, an envelope appeared at her door. No fingerprints. Inside, a photo of her standing at the Bayou crime scene. On the back, when you look into the water, we look back. That night, she didn't sleep, because for the first time, it felt like the case was watching her. Next morning, a fourth USB arrived, inside in a calm voice whispering, "We never left, we never die." Attached was one final image, a satellite map showing dozens of lanterns drifting toward the Gulf. And ever since, residents around the bayou claim to see lanterns glowing at midnight. Some say they're souls, others say it's a message. But one thing's certain, whoever started this isn't done yet. Because if those lights are still moving, then maybe the lantern still burns,